Well, hello there and welcome. I'm just drinking out of my Like a Magic mug. Look at that. Can you believe it? Finally, a mug that looks good. Took all these years. Mm. Unfortunately, it's just water though. It's pretty boring. Anyway, welcome guys. Hello and welcome to Abroad in Japan August live show. Uh, doesn't appear to be working though. Or is it? Shit. Is it working? Is it? Yes, it's working. All right, good. It says there's one viewer. 19 viewers. Now it's working. Good. It's really scary doing a live show. You never know when it might just all go wrong. But anyway, it does look a lot better than the old mug, right? And as you can see, I'm wearing the t-shirt as well. I thought I would show you the new merchandise. Let's kick things off with the merchandise. I don't remember if I showed you this last month. This is something I'm really excited about. The Love Hotel cushion. Look at that. A Love Hotel cushion. This is how far things have come. It's actually the coolest bit of merchandise I think I've ever had produced and ever bought myself. So there's that. Got the Love Hotel cushion. We've got the Like a Magic mug. We've got the Like a Magic shirt. We've got we've got this. The electric box and the fucking cleaner. These are just notepads. I don't really know if I don't even know how much they are. Hang on. I can't remember how much these are selling for. Though. I better check that out. But I like this. This is my favourite design. You may remember Natsuki's incredible invention of the electric box, which is just a microwave that he mispronounced. And I like it. I like to think I like to write in it and think outside the box. Think outside the electric box. It's a really shit joke there. Probably a shit joke that I will use in the upcoming merchandise promotion video, where I'm going to try and entice people to buy this stuff. But the designs are really good. Thank you to David, who's hidden away somewhere in the comments section. I can see him there. Thanks for designing this. And also, there's this. This is the Fuck Saka t-shirt. Love that. I put a picture of this on like social media recently, and it got like more likes than I think anything I've ever posted. So clearly, people are interested. People might buy things, so that's good. It's just nice. The idea of the merchandise, it's not about money. Well, maybe it's a little bit about money, but it's just about kind of having a sense of community, I guess. Like this channel, this Abroad in Japan channel. There's always been. I've not done a very good job of making a community out of it. So hopefully that will solve that issue. But anyway, guys, where are you watching from today? Let us know in the comment section. And what have you been doing today? Anybody done anything fun? Anything got anything interesting planned? I've climbed up a mountain today. That's what I did. Just for a 10-second sequence, an upcoming video that's out either Monday or Tuesday. I just went all the way. I literally climbed all the way up a mountain just for 10 seconds of video. That is the kind of dedication that goes into these videos. Belgium, Toronto, Canada, Melbourne, land of the kangaroo, Vienna. Northeast England. Yeah. Wonderful. All right, so let's start things. Let's kick things. Oh God, what am I going to do with this? I've got 2 drinks down here, and I've got to choose which one I'm going to be drinking in the next hour: Sapporo beer or Emerald coffee. I was watching back the last live show I did in July. I was slurring my words a little bit. It sounded like I was drunk or very tired or something. So, as an emergency, if that happens again this time, if I start slurring my words and talking like that, then let me know in the comment section, and I'll down this rather disgusting coffee drink. It tastes just like vomit, but does the job. It wakes you up at a price. All right, so the news. I've not been in a very good mood the last 2 or 3 days because, well, I'll let you. Can anybody guess why? Can you guess why I've not been happy the last 2 or 3 days? I'll tell you why in a minute. But the week started well. The week started pretty well. We had 2 videos up. The one about the $3,000 hotel where Ryotaro tried to kill me, and we had a video about what was it? How to travel Japan cheap. That was it. Yeah. Both videos did really well and got 500,000 views each because they ended up on the YouTube trending thing. I'm still trying to work out. I still don't really understand what YouTube trending is. All I know is it's great. I love it because it seems to work well for me. But yeah, so the week started well with those 2 videos. And then with the merchandise, that was good. I've got 30,000 subscribers in just like 4 days, just from those 2 videos doing well on YouTube trending. So that was pretty cool. And we broke the 500,000 subscriber mark as well. So that was cool. And I was going to do like a post like, yeah, 500,000 views on Facebook and stuff. But then we went straight past it to 530,000. And now it feels like the moment's gone. So I can't really do it now. So yeah, there's that. Let's see if anyone's guessed why I'm in a bad mood. Was it your cameo in the TV show, says Miguel? Yes, it was. So you may know, I didn't promote it on Patreon, but I promoted it everywhere else. I did a thing with NHK World that was broadcast, I think, yesterday and the day before. And it was filmed about a month ago. Oh, fuck it. I need the beer now. I'm already depressed just thinking about it. Okay. Cheers. Best beer in Japan, Sapporo. Always get this one. Right, so about 2 months ago, 2 or 3 months ago, NHK World came to me and said, Chris, we want you to present a TV show. And I was like, yes, absolutely, I'm in. And they offered me, I think it was about 4 or 5 man, which is like $400 or $500, which is great. I thought, well, I could take that money, use it to make my own videos, and I get incredible fame and fortune on the television, TV stardom. You know, I was very excited about it. And then, yeah, I watched it 2 or 3 days ago, and it's just, oh god, it didn't do me any favors. It seems to have been especially edited to make me look just really bland and shit. I'm sure that wasn't their intention. Have any of you seen it? Have any of you seen the NHK World show? I mean, it's a nice show. The idea was to promote regional dishes in Japan and stuff, and it was a nice idea, but it wasn't edited well, and there's times when I'm talking and it just cuts me off mid-sentence and just goes to a voiceover. Anyway, I didn't like it. And unfortunately, I'm contractually kind of obliged to promote it on my social media. So not only am I in a show that I don't think I don't really like it, I didn't come across well in, but I've actually got to promote it myself through Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. If you haven't seen it, you can, if you just go on the Facebook Abroad in Japan Facebook page, you can find it there. But don't go, please don't watch it. But and now I have to promote it on YouTube as well. So this week I was going to make a video about why I've given up coffee, which isn't going well either. But I was going to make a video about me quitting coffee, but I had to postpone that because I've had to quickly think up a new video idea where I've got to slot in me promoting a TV show with me in that I don't like and I don't want people watching. So it's a really just shit situation, to be honest. So yeah, so that's why I'm not in a good mood. And I've kind of been a bit stressed out about it. Although thankfully today, I quickly came up with an idea for a video. All day I've been scripting a video, and the video is called. What is the video called? Crap. The video is called Where is the best place to live in Japan? Countryside versus city, and it's just me talking about comparing my life now, living here in the city, to where I lived before in the countryside, and where I think's best, and where I think you should live if you get the chance to live in Japan. And then at the end of the video, I'm just going to quickly slot it in, and hopefully, yeah, I'm just going to put it in there. But anyway, so that's why I've not been in a great mood. Yeah, sucks really. But anyway. Well, it sounds like a first world problem, doesn't it? Oh no, I'm in a TV show and it wasn't good. But like, I don't know. I'm a bit self-conscious about the way I'm presented on these things. You know, it's nice when you're making like YouTube videos and whatnot. You have control over what you're making, right? So when you're being on a TV show where you have no control and it's edited out of your, well, I don't know, when you can't edit it yourself, then it's kind of a bit scary. So, yeah, there you go. But they still paid you, right? Says Saber. They did pay me. Yeah, actually, no, they haven't paid me yet. They pay me next month, I think. Yeah, so I get paid for it. That's good. I can use that money to make some more videos, but still, yeah, lesson learned. Don't go on Japanese TV. Yeah, I don't know many foreigners actually who have have enjoyed being on Japanese TV. I remember when I came over, it was one of my dreams. You know, a lot of foreigners come over and think, yes, I'm going to go to Japan. I'm going to be famous, and I'm going to be on Japanese TV. It'll be amazing. It'll be like Lost in Translation, where Bill Murray is with that crazy Japanese man in the studio. It'll be like that. It's not like that. It's not like that at all. Never again. So yeah, lesson learned. And I don't think you can watch it now, but it's going to be on video on demand on Monday, so everyone can watch it. And I've got to promote it. And yeah, so if you haven't seen it already, you don't watch it, but you can watch it on the 28th on NHK online video on demand thing. Anyway, enough about that. That's that over. NHK World's a funny old thing. When I said yes to the TV program, this new TV program, I mean, if I'd watched it before, I might have said no, I don't want to be on it. But I thought, oh, NHK World, that's like the BBC of Japan. That'd be great. No, was it? No, not really. So yeah, lesson learned. Don't watch it. It reminds me of the live show from 2 years ago that I did on the Abroad in Japan channel. The first and last live show I did on the Abroad in Japan channel. So yeah, anyway, we didn't come here to talk about this all evening. Oh shit, there goes the microphone. All right. So, other thing I wanted to show you. I mentioned when I was promoting this live chat on Patreon, I mentioned I bought a book. One of the nicer aspects of this week. As well as getting 30,000 subscribers, I also bought a book. It's called Onago Room, and I was in a coffee shop in Sendai, and I came across this book, and I had a flick through it, and it was really interesting. It's basically just girls. It sounds really creepy the way I'm about to describe it. It's just girls' bedrooms. It's just that's really bad. That's a really bad example. It's bedrooms of women around Japan, just lazing around in their rooms, not really doing a whole lot. But I found it really captivating. It's really cool, like just seeing these kind of bedrooms, the way they're laid out, and the design and stuff. And it really doesn't sound like I'm doing myself any justice here, especially these fucking pictures like this. But there's nothing like dodgy about it. It is actually quite normal. But you find when you go into a Japanese person's house, you find it's actually a lot more chaotic and messy than you would expect. Like the rooms. I mean, this is a great example. Look at this woman's room here. Look how fucking cluttered it is. It looks like a bomb hit it or something. So messy. But I just find that I found it quite inspirational, just getting lost in these sort of images of all these bedrooms and seeing all these designs and stuff. In a weird way, it inspired me, and so I took the book to the counter in the coffee shop, and the woman at the counter said it's not for sale. This is a coffee shop, there to be read while you drink coffee. And I was really humiliated, and walked out the coffee shop red-faced, and spent the next 2 hours walking around about 3 different bookshops in Sendai. It became my mission that day. Walking around bookshops in Sendai trying to find the book, and I was eventually lucky. But it's a really cool book, and I've been trying to think up ideas for short films recently, and it's a really good source of inspiration. I don't know, you kind of look at that and you think, there's a great film set to be had there. So if you're interested in it, it's called Onago Room by Shiori Kawamoto. Good book. All right. God, that didn't do me any favours. Open the book, straight to a picture of a half-naked girl. Brilliant. It's not a dodgy book, though. You have my word. All right. Yeah, lots of people saying I'm digging a hole, not doing myself any favours. All right. So, I got you guys to answer a question about where you want to live in Japan. If you could live anywhere in Japan, where would you live? And we've got some answers here. Let's dive in. Paul says somewhere cool weather-wise. It's a good option. Interesting fact, Miyagi Prefecture is the coolest prefecture in Japan. Not coolest as in hip and cool, but coolest as in coldest. And they made a video this month called something like Suzushi Tokoro. I can't remember what it was called, but it was about how Miyagi Prefecture is the coldest prefecture in Japan. And in this TV advert, which is about 2 minutes long, they used really bad idea. They used a porn model, porn star actress, who's really famous in Japan, to just sort of walk around Miyagi Prefecture, just like being really sexually provocative. And this was like for TV, and it's on YouTube. You can find it now. I think I posted it on the Facebook page, but I think just type in Miyagi band commercial, and it's just like a woman going around just touching things and saying, "Oh, Suzushi desu ne," like talking about how cold everything is. And that was went off on a bit on a tangent there, but yeah, the video got banned because loads of Japanese politicians said it made Miyagi in Japan look really bad. But yeah, that was quite a fun advert. Anywhere with easy access to good mountains for snowboarding in winter, says Holly. Probably Hokkaido. Yeah, actually the best place to ski in Japan is Nagano, and that's only 2 hours from Tokyo. So actually, if you live in Tokyo, you've got skiing on your doorstep, and Tohoku. I think most people think skiing equals Hokkaido, but actually skiing equals quite a lot of Japan, especially Tohoku. So bear that in mind. Sam says the outskirts of Tokyo would be a good place to live, where it's not so crowded. Yeah, Kanagawa springs to mind. If you're someone that lives in Kanagawa, I am envious of you. Would love to live there. And Vex says Hakone. Don't know why you want to live in Hakone, the hot spring resort just outside of Tokyo. Don't know why that would be a good place to live. I suppose there's some nice hot springs, but way too many tourists. Nathan says, I would want to live. Where would I want to live? It's a close tie between Niigata and Sendai, which is interesting because I had to choose. About 2 years ago, I had to choose between living in Niigata or moving to Sendai. And I ended up moving to Sendai because it's a bigger city, it's better connected, the scenery is better, and it's just more interesting region, I find. Although Niigata has the best sake in Japan, so that's a pretty good reason to live there as well. But yeah, some interesting answers there from you guys. If you live in Japan, let us know in the comment section. Where do you live? Is it good? I know it's something I'm going to talk about in the upcoming video, where I talk about the countryside versus the city. But yeah, this is nice. This is very refreshing. This was a good idea. I've already drunk 3 coffees today, and I'm a bit hyper. All right. What have you guys got? Emil says, I'd like to live in the crater of Mount Fuji. Probably not a good idea, considering it's supposed to blow at some point in the next few years, which is something I'm legitimately worried about. The idea of Mount Fuji erupting sends an absolute fucking shudder down my spine, especially as I might climb it again next year. So yeah. I think it makes Miyagi look great. Oh, clearly you've seen the advert. Yeah, it got 4 million views. This commercial, this porn model, this porn star person in this Miyagi commercial that was for everyone to watch. She goes up to a tortoise turtle, and she says, "Ue ni notte mui desu ka? Can I ride you?" And when she says it, the tortoise. I'm not even going to talk about what happens. Just go and watch it because I don't want to describe what happens in it. But yeah, I can see why it got banned. It got 4 million views though, so clearly it was a good idea making such a provocative marketing video for Miyagi. But yeah, all right. So I said this week I would talk about, before we dive into all your questions, you sent in tons of questions this week, which we're going to get into in a minute. But I said we'd talk about foreigner mistakes foreigners make when they come to Japan, common mistakes. And I've got some interesting ones, some ones that you probably wouldn't normally think of. So let's dive in there. This is an interesting one. Foreigner mistakes in Japan. Number 1, favouring one culture over another. What you find is a lot of foreigners who come to Japan, they tend to either go one of 2 ways, a lot of people. The first way is they praise Japan a lot and never ever talk ill of it, but also there's a sense that when you praise Japan, you have to make your own country look shit. And in hindsight, it's something that I've been guilty of in videos in the past. I've often say something like, "Oh, this is great in Japan. In the UK, we couldn't do that." But there are people that take it way too far, like the weeaboo people who are actually quite rare. I've never met that many weeaboos. Don't know where they are, but anyway, you often find people that praise Japan so much whilst putting down their own country. And it's a really weird and annoying thing, and it's very common. And then the other side of that, of course, are people who come to Japan and then start to hate it quite quickly. And I know lots of people that fall under that category. And then some reason, and I guess it comes from culture shock. You know, you come to Japan and you find things aren't the way you want them to be. And Japan has this rigid kind of social class and social structure that you don't have back home, and it really bugs you and annoys you. So that can happen. I mean, I knew a guy who lived in the same town as I did, and he lived there for 1 year, and he solely ate Domino's Pizza, Pizza Hut, and McDonald's. Every time I saw him, he went off. He was like, "Let's go to Pizza Hut. Let's go to McDonald's." He never ever wanted to try Japanese food, and he never ever kind of wanted to get into the culture at all. And I didn't understand why. So yeah, you meet people both ends of the spectrum, but yeah, it's a common mistake to favour one culture of another. Just because you're in Japan doesn't mean you need to always compare the two cultures, your own home culture and Japan. So I said that's one mistake. Dr. Kabuki says, but the US is going to shit. Either way, I wouldn't do that. The US isn't going to shit. Donald Trump will be there for a bit and then he'll be gone. The US is fine. The US is doing quite well, I think. Most weeaboos have never been to Japan. Probably true. You know, I've never actually met. I've met 2 weeaboos in 5 years. 2 people that fit that kind of descriptive character, like description of the character. It's quite a rare type of person to come across, unless I'm a weeaboo without knowing it, in which case I'm fucked. But anyway, yeah, Filthy Frank. I can't even say his name. Fucking hell. Filthy Frank didn't do anyone any favors by making that video. As funny as it is, the Filthy. I can't say his fucking name. The Filthy Frank weeaboo video, fucking hilarious. But after that damn video, every comment, I got so many comments about weeaboos on all my videos. It drove me fucking mad. So yeah, but weeaboos in Japan, rarer than you think. They flock to Anime North in Toronto like crazy. Do they? I don't know. People seem to use weeaboo to describe anyone who likes Japanese culture at all these days, says Matt. And that's an interesting point, because in Filthy Frank's video about weeaboos, he points out that people that like Japanese culture aren't actually weeaboos. But unfortunately, many of his viewers took it to mean that anyone who's interested in Japan is a weeaboo. And now there's this kind of collectivist fucking bullying going on where everyone who's interested in Japan is a weeaboo or something. Really annoying thing. Still, it's a funny video. I'll give him that. All right, more mistakes foreigners make. Big mistake, one that I still make, is assuming that credit cards work, which sounds like a weird one. But actually, credit cards in Japan don't work as often as you'd think. I mean, in the UK, in much of the Western world, credit cards, that's how we spend most of our money. Like when I lived in the UK, I used my card exclusively. I don't think I ever carried cash. And yeah, in Japan, it's a cash-based culture. You always have to carry like 4 or 5 man, like 10 or 50,000 yen on you any time really, in case of an emergency, because you often find that your card just won't bloody work. Debit card, credit card. Like even 2 or 3 days ago, I was renting a car, and I was renting a car. It was like 3 or 4 man. And the credit card didn't work, and it was a really kind of oh shit moment, and I had to kind of go off to the ATM and get my money out, and it's really frustrating. And every time I use my credit card now, there's a sense of fear. The moment I put it in and put my PIN in, there's like a moment of like, oh shit, is it gonna work or not? I don't know. So yeah, when you come to Japan, like carry 4 or 5 man on you at all times. For example, if you're staying at a hotel, if you're staying 3 or 4 nights, that's the kind of amount of money you're going to be needing to spend, right? So, yeah, always carry cash on you. 3 or 4 man. It's going down gradually every time I say it. 3 or 4 man, 5 or 4 man. Yeah, like 40,000 yen is a good amount to carry. Yeah. Any comments on that? Any thoughts? Dr. Kabuki says, carry twice as much cash as you think you need. Yeah, good advice. Inori says, how much cash do you carry on you? I'm visiting in a month. I carry about 3 or 4 man at any one time. And if you need to use an ATM at a moment's notice, the 7-Eleven ATMs are the best ones that use you can use your foreign credit cards or debit cards on it. So yeah, 7-Eleven, the best ones. For some reason, Family Mart and Lawson's fucking don't ever work. Nightmare. All right. This is really good. Why don't I drink beer more often? I really don't drink beer that much. Really should. All right. Credit cards do seem to be accepted. Yeah. Still, walking around with a wallet of $500,000 seems excessive. Yeah, maybe it is a bit excessive. The good thing is, I mean, the main reason I didn't carry £500 in my wallet in the UK is just because I was afraid of getting like burgled or robbed or whatever. In Japan, there's less a sense of fear about being robbed, right? People won't take your wallet. Like crime's a lot lower, so you don't feel as uncomfortable walking around with that kind of money in your wallet at any given time. So that's an upside, I guess. What else we got? Another foreigner mistake. Talking about World War II. I think that's a common mistake. A lot of people come over, especially I think maybe from like the UK and America, and I mean British people are really interested in history and love history. And I remember when I first came over, I'd often talk about World War II with my Japanese friends and stuff and try and see what they thought of it. But it just gets awkward very quickly, very fast. The way it's treated in Japan, it seems to be a degree of, I guess, humiliation to an extent, because it really did throw Japan off World War II, whatever. But yeah, I find a lot of foreigners come over and they like to start talking about World War II because it's such a big part of history and culture in the West. Well, for the countries that won it anyway, they always brag about it, particularly the UK. But there comes a point when you have to kind of look forward and look on and acknowledge that it's in the past, and we have to kind of just not bloody talk to everyone about it all the time. But yeah, I'd avoid talking about World War II in Japan. The conversation never goes anywhere interesting. I remember I was in a bar with Natsuki once, and Pearl Harbor was on in the background, and I was joking to Natsuki about it, and I think he felt a sense of guilt watching Pearl Harbor for some reason. I don't know why. Just because the scene of like all the Japanese planes coming in and bombing all the ships in Pearl Harbor, and Natsuki was sitting there feeling slightly guilty and wondering why this happened, and it was just a really weird moment. It made me realise, about how weird it is. But yeah, coming from the UK, which has basically invaded just about every country or thing in the world, it's always a difficult thing to discuss. But yeah, just avoid World War II, and don't ever talk about Hiroshima, for the love of God. Like yeah, I got asked about what I thought about Hiroshima. Should the atomic bombs have been used in World War II? And I just chose not to answer the question because, yeah, don't even go there. In fact, the first week that I arrived in Japan, 5 years and 3 weeks ago, when I arrived in Japan, one of my teachers, who was a kind of a peace-loving hippie kind of character, really nice guy, he took me to a memorial service in the morning just before school, and they ring a bell to commemorate Hiroshima, the time that the bomb dropped, and we were sort of standing there in the rain ringing the bell. It's quite a powerful moment. I'd only been in Japan like 10 days, and I was like standing there commemorating like the atomic bombing of Hiroshima. But yeah, it's a subject best not discussed, to be honest. No good ever seems to come from it. So yeah, World War II. Yeah. What we got here in the comment section? Some people talking about the radiation levels of Hiroshima. Nah, don't worry, it's completely safe. Genuinely, it's fine. All right. Other foreigner mistakes. Being spontaneous. This is a shit one. I don't know about you guys, but I live a very spontaneous life. I like to do things on the day. I make it up as I go. But in Japan, things don't happen spontaneously at all, unfortunately. Like, if you ask your Japanese friend, "Oh, do you want to go out tonight?" Probably won't happen. Like with Natsuki, when I meet Natsuki, I have to book it in advance, like 3 or 4 weeks, just to see Natsuki, because in Japan people book their schedules really far in advance. So yeah, expect that. Don't expect the sort of schedule lifestyle of a foreigner to be of like, don't expect your spontaneous lifestyle to fit that well into Japanese culture, I guess. What we got here? Did you ever go to the museum in Hiroshima? I did. Yeah, I've been twice. It's quite powerful stuff. Um, I, yeah, I'm not going to talk about what I believe on Hiroshima and the atomic bombings, just because it's a slippery slope. But yeah, no, spontaneous lifestyle. Kind of don't have that. Laughing, talking loudly on the train. Everyone knows that one. But again, if I find whenever I have a friend come to Japan, they arrive at Haneda Airport or Narita, and we get on the train and we go to Tokyo, and we're talking loudly or they're talking loudly, and I'm looking around anxiously at the other passengers and stuff. And yeah, I always feel a bit uncomfortable because you kind of see other customers look at you a bit angrily, especially if you use your phone. Don't ever do that. But everyone knows that one, so I don't need to talk about that. Customization. Another foreigner mistake. Customizing your food order. Like, you know how in a foreign, like in a restaurant in the UK, America, anywhere, basically, you can kind of customize your order a little bit. How you want your egg done. Maybe you don't want the salad with it. Maybe you don't want the mushy peas or whatever. There's things you don't want with it. In Japan, it doesn't really work as well. Japanese food is kind of all about structure and consistency. And you'll find that if you want your food in a certain way, it ain't going to happen. So that's another popular mistake. Customization on food. Customization in general, actually. You find Japanese service quality, best in the world. But if you go off the script, off the kind of careful script, the way things normally are, it all goes to shit very fast. Like I remember just asking a simple question in a hotel once that was kind of a bit unconventional. Like, crikey, I think I said something like, "Can I check out a little bit later?" or something, and everyone panicked. The manager came out. Everyone was going and yelling. It was a nightmare. But yeah, don't be surprised if like things that you want don't happen so easily in Japan. Good customer service comes at a price in Japan. There's not a whole lot of customization. You just have to roll with it. Other than that, though, service quality is great. So those are my 6 foreigner mistakes. Any of you guys got? Oh God, I can't talk. If you guys have any kind of things that you think that foreigners fuck up and do in Japan, let us know in the comment section. Anything you think, whatever you think, let us know. Seems to be some interesting comments here. Have you been to Osaka much? Says Matt. Is it true the people are a bit more open and ready to chat in Osaka? Yeah, they are. People in Osaka are awesome. Like a lot of my Japanese friends who are kind of wacky and crazy and fun. Whenever I ask where they're from, I'm not surprised when they say they're from Osaka or Kansai. I don't know why. People just seem to be more like people are more confident, laid back there, in stark contrast to Tohoku. Like up here, people are not spontaneous. Like people aren't. People are quite shy until you get to know them. I mean, even Natsuki, who is loud and crazy and erratic, even Natsuki's pretty shy when you first get to know him. He's kind of very methodic and careful about the way he speaks. And then he has 3 or 4 beers and he's a fucking crazy, like, mental dude. So, yeah, alcohol seems to change everything. All right. But, yeah, people in Kansai, awesome. All right, so questions. On to your questions. Oh, this is really nice. Should drink this every day. Sapporo beer. Most refreshing beer in town. Saber says, are wearing sunglasses a mistake? No. Sunglasses are fine. Actually, no. Now you've said that, it's rarer than you think for people to wear sunglasses in Japan. There seems to be some sort of stigma. Well, I remember whenever I wear sunglasses, people always comment on it as if I shouldn't be doing it. And I've always wondered why that is. I don't know. I think it's because if you're wearing sunglasses, people don't know where you're looking, and it makes social interactions awkward. And so maybe that's why Japanese people don't wear sunglasses as much. So yeah, good question, actually. Didn't even think about that. Oh. All right, on to your questions, guys. Look at that. Today's questions. Oh, God. Chris, that's why I like sunglasses, says Celeste. What, so you can... People don't know where you're looking. All right, guys, so questions. Let's kick things off with... Ardevu says, you spoke about an elderly couple on a plane selling you the idea of teaching in Japan. Did you ever speak to them again, or to the daughter who was working in Japan on JET? I didn't speak to them again, unfortunately, which is a shame, because those two people who told me about the JET program on a plane going to Switzerland, they were, well, they changed my life. You know, if they hadn't told me about the JET program, I wouldn't be here today. So, and I guess I've kind of carried on carrying that torch by talking about that experience and talking about JET on YouTube and trying to encourage other people to do it. So it's weird to think they told me about JET on the plane, and now I've told loads of people about it on YouTube, and hopefully that will lead to more people doing it. So yeah. And RDev also says, is there an age limit to JET? The age limit to the JET program is 40, but I don't think I've ever found anyone who's over 33 years old, and that's because they want people in the JET program who are young, because young students can relate to people who are like in their 20s, right? Like if you remember when you were at school, maybe you had that kind of the cool language teacher or the cool supply teacher who was like in their 20s, who you always got on well with. That's the same principle. They believe that a younger person will get on with the students more naturally on the JET program. But there are other teaching programs where you meet people who are well over 40. If they want a really experienced English teacher, someone who like really knows their stuff, because obviously on the JET program they're not necessarily hiring really good English teachers. They're hiring, I don't know. I know I'm making the JET program sound bad. They're hiring people who they believe will get engaged. They believe people that will get engaged with like the local community and stuff. And God, am I making the JET program sound bad? No. Point is, the age limit to the JET program is 40, but something like Interac or other programs, you can get in older. So don't be put off if you're over 40. And Saber Mouse says, I tried to apply to JET at age 36 and got rejected, then gave up on the idea. It's unfortunate. Yeah, that's why I always tell people, if you want to teach in Japan, best try and get in early while you're in your kind of 20s. I think early 20s is the best time to come here. And actually, there's a question from a guy called Nathan, who, following on from this, it kind of links in. Question from Nathan, and he says, if I put my beer down, I've been holding this beer for like the last 20 minutes. Nathan says, I've been studying Japanese for a year now and planned on applying for JET. However, I've been offered a job at a large engineering company with great pay. Is JET worth going for over the engineering job? Like, what should I do? Difficult thing, right? Engineering job with good salary, JET program. I'd say go for the JET program. No question. The reason is it's a once in a lifetime thing. You know, money can't buy what the JET program can do. It's really hard to live in Japan if you're not teaching. I mean, there are definitely jobs, but it's pretty difficult to find. And your engineering job will always be there for you when you go back to it, right? If you have to choose between nice, high-paid like job or JET program, I'd definitely go for JET program. And in fact, I had this decision myself before I came here. I was kind of offered a job at a consultancy firm which had great pay, but I kind of just dismissed that because I wanted to live in Japan. I wanted a once-in-a-lifetime adventure, and I didn't regret that decision, not once, not one time, because I could probably always find a job like that when I get back. And your engineering job will be waiting for you when you get back, Nathan. And not only that, not only will you return with lots of great stories and experiences from your time in Japan, but it'll actually looks really good on your CV, right? It's really good for graduate prospects, having lived in Japan, and it's a really good talking point. And you find a lot of people in who are quite kind of successful. I've met a lot of people who were on the JET program who have gone on to do really great things. Like I met, I was at a business meeting in London a few years ago, and I met Boris Johnson's. I can't stand Boris Johnson, but anyway, I met his right hand man, and it turned out he'd like been on the JET program, and we got on really well over that. So yeah, JET program all the way. Anybody got any thoughts on that? JET program, engineering job? Did anybody else have to make that decision? Maybe Celeste says, maybe we need to start up a charity fund to help people get to Japan. It's funny you should say that. I always get people sending me their GoFundMe, like people I don't know. I get so many people sending me GoFundMe, crowdfunding campaigns for me to promote them and fund them coming to Japan. And I mean, on the surface, it sounds nice, right? Crowdfunding someone to come over and live in Japan and study. But it gets really annoying, this kind of online begging. People you don't know just randomly coming to you, sending you an email with a really kind of emotional story. I think I talked about it before, but I got one guy who, some guy about 2 years ago, some guy sent me a GoFundMe campaign for himself to come to Japan and study at a language school for a year for he wanted like $30,000 or $40,000. But in the story, he was like, oh, my dad died and it's been really hard. My dad passed away last year. And the one thing my dad wanted before he died was for me to go to Japan. So please help me with my dream and give me some money. And it just felt it really pissed me off. I nearly made a video about it, like just going absolutely crazy, because I just felt it was a really awful thing to utilize your dad's death to get money to go to Japan. I mean, I didn't know if it was real or not, but I get things like that I get things like that pretty frequently. So yeah, charity fund to come to Japan. I'm not on that. Nah, God. Yeah, it is pretty disingenuous, says Catchy. Yeah, it's pretty annoying. David, yes, my fish died. Please give me $1 million. I've got shit like that. I literally get things like that all the time. Terrible. You get a really 5 paragraphs of emotional, sad story, and then the last paragraph, but help me go to Japan and fulfill my dreams. And it's just like, oh, fuck off. God. All right. Although the reason I didn't make that video, I scripted it. I was really angry. I didn't make it because I was considering launching Patreon, and I thought it was a little bit potentially hypocritical talking about how people annoy me by doing this online begging and then talking about how I'm going to launch Patreon. Although I don't think it's a fair comparison to make. No, it's not. No, definitely not. All right. Patreon's not online begging. But I don't need to justify Patreon. By funding Patreon, you're funding more videos, yeah. And I'm not going to ever give you some sort of emotional, sad story about why I need more money. Don't worry. All right. We're going on a structured path. Some interesting comments here. I'm struggling to keep up. Voilin's life. My story. I want to go to Japan. I don't have any story. I just want to go. So, okay, give me your money. See, now that would be I would probably be more tempted to give money to someone who made me laugh with their crowdfunding campaign, or someone who did something original, than the kind of emotional, sad story, So if you do want to come to Japan, send me your crowdfunding campaign, make it funny and original, and it might actually work. So yeah. Okay. Went off on a big tangent there. Let's dive into another question. Okay, I like this question. Miles says, I'm heading into Japan for 1 week to try and improve my Japanese. Any suggestions for places to go or things to do to practice Japanese? Good question. First suggestion, sounds really bad. I don't even know if people still use it, but Tinder is actually a really good way of meeting people in Japan. I had a friend who was over working in Japan for like 2 weeks, and I met him. We had a drink, and he had to rush off from our meal because he had a Tinder date. And I was like, "Why? Why you've got a Tinder date? You're only in Tokyo for like 1-2 weeks." But he just sort of said, "Well, it's just fun to go out and meet people." And I thought, maybe he's right. But he kind of told me about his experiences, and far from being this kind of seedy, horrible thing. This is back before I even really knew what Tinder was, by the way. It sounded like he had really nice kind of encounters with people, met some really interesting people along the way. Like he was here 2 weeks and he met 3 or 4 people through Tinder, Japanese girls. And rather than having kind of some sort of romantic or, rather than anything happening, it was just Japanese girls who wanted to meet someone interesting and go off for a drink. And it sounded really cool. I still haven't done Tinder myself yet. I did think about doing a video on it, but the repercussions would be too significant to make a Tinder video. I don't want to be that guy who makes the Tinder in Tokyo videos, so I backed away from doing it. And a few of you have put in the comment section, Tinder in disbelief, but actually it's pretty good. And then I had another friend that came over a few months after that, and he wanted to meet people and just go off and meet strangers and stuff. And I recommended Tinder to him. And he was like, Tinder? I don't even have Tinder. It's rubbish. And I was like, yes, but try it anyway. And I took his phone and I made his Tinder account. And we put it online or whatever. We put it on Tinder. And he got like 30 people in the first 2 hours because we gave him quite a nice profile photo on his Tinder. He got like 30 people. And he met a Japanese girl who's a model, some kind of model, and now they've been dating for a year and they live happily ever after. So she's a really nice girl as well. So that completely changed my thoughts on Tinder. And ever since then, he always acts as though he's in my debt or something for me, like teaching him about Tinder. So yeah, Tinder, fucking Tinder definitely all the way. And if you don't want to do Tinder though, fair enough. The second way of meeting people, practicing your Japanese in Japan, just go to a bar. Just go to a bar, preferably to a counter, and grab a beer, and just start talking to people. And it's a great place to try. One bar in particular, there's a bar in Ueno called the Warrior Celt, and it's just near. It's about a 3-minute walk from Ueno Station. Warrior Celt. It's a British themed pub. But there's never that many foreigners in there. But there's always a really interesting crowd of Japanese people who kind of fun and wacky and awesome. Like my good friend Yuki. I don't know if you guys remember my friend Yuki, the guy who likes tiny beers and he's in the Marmite video. That Yuki. He always goes there like every bloody week. So if you go there, you might meet Yuki. But yeah, just go to a bar. Warrior Celt. Google that. Go there and you'll have a whale of a time. Jake Knowlton met his girlfriend via Tinder and now they're married. Fucking hell. Wow. The power of Tinder. See, I always thought Tinder was just like a place where you find someone you want to screw, which is why I never used it. I'm a man of honor. But yeah, no, it seems like a legitimately good way to meet people, Tinder. Although people don't seem to use it as much these days. It kind of faded out. I don't know if people use it secretly, but yeah, it seems to have had its moment. All right. Actually, speaking of Yuki, Ratsby says, will you ever make any more videos with Yuki? I would love to make videos with Yuki. He is just an amazing, hilarious dude. In fact, I saw him 2 or 3 days ago. We caught up. And for those of you who don't know, again, guy with the tiny beers in a video I made called My Favorite Place in Japan. And he's also the guy who eats the Marmite. I met him 2 or 3 days ago. And he's just opened a brand new co-working space. It's the only co-working space in Yamagata Prefecture where people can go and start up their businesses. And it's half built. And we went up on the 2nd floor and it's just completely open and empty. And we got on some chairs and we had a chair race around the entire 2nd floor whilst he was playing the Top Gun soundtrack, full volume, on a boombox. And that is why Yuki is my favorite person. Yuki's actually more funny and entertaining than Ryotaro and Natsuki. Don't tell them I said that. But Yuki is just fucking amazing. And I'm actually trying to get him. I'm trying to convince a friend who works in television to put Yuki in a TV show because he would be amazing, and I'd love to put him in more videos because I don't know why I didn't film the chair race. It's not every day you race around and like an empty office in chairs whilst listening to the Top Gun soundtrack. But yeah, Yuki all the way. I booked a room at Yuki's hostel for September. Really? Now that is interesting. Wow, crikey. What's your name? The Simi777. What is your name? I wanna this is cool. Yeah, by all means, go and check out Yuki's hostel. It's really awesome. I actually stay there sometimes, so if you do book a room at Yuki's hostel, there's a chance I might be there drinking his tiny beers. He does have normal sized beers as well. Simon. All right. Simon. All right. I'll put in a good word for you, Simon, when I speak to Yuki next time. All right, next question. Celeste, the CEO of the Natsuki fan club. Celeste says, "What's your biggest regret when it comes to Raw in Japan?" My biggest regret, in general, of my life, is when I was between 18 years old to 21 years old. I had 2 jobs and I was making good money. I worked at a castle where I met Elon Musk, which I talked about before, and I worked at an office doing boring stuff on Excel spreadsheets, but I made good money. But I spent all that money eating out at restaurants every single day. I would finish work and I'd be depressed from filling out spreadsheets, and then I'd spend my earnings going to like a nice restaurant and then just blow all my money. So I would do a job that made me feel miserable and then use the money from that job that made me feel miserable and spend it all solely on just eating nice food. And which sounds like a good idea, but when you think about a 3 to 4 year period when you're eating out nearly every day, that was like all my salary gone, and I saved up no money before I came to Japan. I came to Japan like penniless with a credit card. So yeah, that was my biggest regret, because when you think about it, you can't look back on all those 4 years. I don't even remember all those 4 years of eating out, all those nice restaurants I went to. Don't even remember them. The memory's gone because I did it so bloody frequently that, yeah. So don't do that. Don't follow my footsteps. And now I only eat out 2, 3 times a week, but that's lunch and dinner. I try and stay in and eat just crap, boring food now, like pasta and oatmeal. Save a lot of money, and I get to spend that on other things. So yeah, don't blow all your money on eating out. Learn from my mistakes. And my biggest regret when it comes to Raw in Japan? That's a good question. Probably that live show 2 years ago, which I talked about at length 2 months ago in this live show. The live show I did with Simon and Martina and some other people. Simon and Martina were great. The live show though was just shit, and yeah, that was my biggest regret. And also, just I think I've always taken this YouTube thing far too seriously. Like I don't make videos that I don't just pick up a camera and walk off and make a video and just do something like a vlog. I always have to sit down before I make a video. I have to sit down and script it and think it out, like think it through in advance. And that's great because it means the quality of the videos are good and they're generally more entertaining and informative. But it means I don't know. It means there's been less videos over the years, and yeah, I guess that's one regret. But no, really, it's just the live show. That was that was a regret. Why was it shit? Says Dr. Kabuki. Was it the comments? No, the live show was shit. Celeste says live show or hidden abroad Japan video. The live show that I did 2 years ago is still up. Unfortunately, people can still watch this. It's just fucking disaster. It was awful because it was kind of I don't know. It was just scripted by a company who loaded the live show full of horrible sponsors. It was awful. You can go and watch it. Don't watch it though. It's awful. Although it's kind of funny in a shit kind of way. When something's so awful, it becomes funny. That is the live show 2 years ago. So that's the only reason I would check it out. Okay. Voilin's Life says, I prefer quality over quantity. So do I. So yeah. if you set up a YouTube channel, please don't put out loads of videos every day. Think your videos through in advance, for the love of God. Yeah, and actually my latest regret, of course, is the doing the NHK thing. That was a regret, big regret. Yeah, it was pretty cringe. It says Mr. Fujisawa. It was pretty cringe, and yeah, but fortunately, what you find is when you do something that you regret, something that embarrasses you, after 2 or 3 years, that feeling goes away generally. So now when I look back at the Tokyo live show featuring Abroad in Japan, Simon and Martina, Megwin and Jason, I look back at it and think, well, it was a funny experience. It might make an interesting page in an autobiography or a story one day. Yeah. I suppose in hindsight, even the NHK thing was an interesting or useful experience because I learned not to do it again. But actually filming it was quite fun. It's just the way they edited it didn't do it justice. It's a sad day when I look at a TV show and think I could have edited it better. You know, that's never a good thing. Oh dear. You should do a future video on cringy experiences, says Mr. Fujisawa. I could do, but why would I want to show people my cringy experiences? If anything, I want to make myself look cool, not shit. All right. More questions. Ron says, Simpsons or Futurama? When I was a kid growing up, Simpsons all the way, and then past season 7, I think season 6 or 7, Simpsons. Just oh god, I can't believe it's still running. Can you believe The Simpsons is still running? It shouldn't be. It's just it really depresses me now because you watch it and all the things that made the characters good gone. Like Homer used to have he used to be a bumbling idiot, but he still had some kind of principles and he was an interesting, rich character. Now he's just a fucking idiot with no likable kind of characteristics. All the characters have been just done to the point of death. And yeah, no, I can't stand The Simpsons. But growing up, it was one of the best shows. Like, was one of the legitimately one of the best shows of the 90s was The Simpsons, and one of the best sitcoms of all time. But it's just awful. And as for Futurama, I really like Futurama. It took me a while to get into it. I think I was about 16 before I started liking Futurama. But unlike The Simpsons, I always found a lot more. Like from Futurama, I actually felt quite emotional sometimes. Like I remember the first time I watched Futurama, the first episode I watched was the one where Fry meets he learns about his is it his brother or his uncle? I can't remember. Who was an astronaut who went to Mars, and Fry is really bitter because he stole his lucky clover or something. And the last shot is like Fry standing over his I think his uncle's grave or his son's grave. God, I can't remember what happens, but I remember it was just really emotional. And yeah, Futurama is really good. Our brother, Fry's brother, yeah, emotional, awesome episode. And I didn't really get that from The Simpsons. The Simpsons made me laugh. Futurama made me think. So yeah, still haven't seen Rick and Morty. That's something I feel almost guilty saying that, considering everyone I like and know watches Rick and Morty. So that's what I'm going to watch next. I've recently been watching Stranger Things, which is really good, and Silicon Valley, HBO Silicon Valley, fucking amazing. And now, of course, watching Game of Thrones. Can't wait. Fucking season finale tomorrow. Can't wait for that. Everyone, yeah, lots of Rick and Morty fans in the comment section. I don't know why I haven't watched it. I'm an idiot. What's going on there? Yeah, Stranger Things. Stranger Things is really good. Maybe a little bit overrated. I loved it. Don't get me wrong. I love Stranger Things, but the way people talk about it, it seems to be like, I don't know. I don't get the really high levels of praise it's got. I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I'd give Silicon Valley a 9 out of 10, and Game of Thrones a 9.5 out of 10. That makes things easier. Just 1 to 10. It's always the easy way around it. Although this season of Game of Thrones, for those of you that watch it, I found the writing to be a little bit shit. I had a debate about this with Rachel and Jen, and I said the writing. I thought this season the writing was a bit, but anyway. Celeste says Stranger Things out of 10, 8 out of 10. Yeah, actually, I agree. Stranger Things 8 out of 10. Silicon Valley 9 out of 10. Game of Thrones 9.5. We solved that one. Giovanni says, how did you study Japanese grammar? Did you write it in a textbook over and over, or did you do quizzes online? Quizzes online. There's a quiz. There's a Japanese grammar quiz. Why don't I know about this? I bet it just read out of a textbook. Genki, Human Japanese, Tai Kim's Grammar Guide. I've literally just read it, wrote it out, and then I try and practice it the day I learn it. If you learn Japanese grammar, try and practice it the day you learn it, because otherwise you'll just forget it. And later on, I discovered this book. It's called, what's it called? Dictionary of Basic Japanese Grammar. Amazing. It describes, like, it goes into real detail about the grammar and how it's used and when not to use it. What you find with books like Genki is it teaches you some grammar, but it doesn't give you many examples and it doesn't really talk about it that much. This book goes into incredible detail. Only downside is it's pretty expensive. It's like $40 or $50 or something crazy. Fortunately, a friend gave it to me, or I borrowed it and forgot to give it back. I can't remember which one. Shit. But anyway, recommend that book. Awesome book. Can you post this book somewhere? I can, but yeah, just a dictionary of basic Japanese grammar. There's 3 levels as well. There's intermediate, basic, intermediate, and advanced. I've been thinking about I should really get the intermediate book. Don't know why I haven't, but yeah, absolutely essential if you really are serious about learning Japanese. Can we get it in a digital copy? Probably. You can probably get it illegally. Shouldn't have said that. But you can probably download it. But you find with a lot of Japanese books, they aren't in digital format yet, because Japan, for whatever reason, doesn't do digital stuff yet. Like I mentioned it before, Japanese people like to buy their music in an actual CD or vinyl. I think 60%. Is it 60% of Japanese music is still sold in hard copy? And so books like this, which are written by Japanese people and published by Japanese companies, are not digitized more often than not, which is kind of annoying, but meh. They're gradually working their way around to it. Dr. Kabuki says 80% of music. Really? Was it that much? 80% of music is still like hard format in Japan. It's really cool, actually. You've still got shops like HMV in Japan, shops that died out like 50 fucking years ago in the UK or whatever. They're still here. You can go into a shop and find millions of records, and it's just really cool and awesome. But yeah, Japan's really hardcore on that. What else have we got? William says, I'll be living in Hyogo between Osaka, Kobe, and Kyoto for a few months. Anything you could tell me about the area? First of all, you lucky person, you get to live in between Osaka, Kobe, and Kyoto. That's like the dream location. In fact, in the video that I'm putting out tomorrow, or the day after, about the best place to live in Japan, I talk a bit about the fact that I actually wanted to be placed in Hyogo Prefecture in Kobe, and for some reason they went, "Oh, you want to live in Hyogo Prefecture? That's nice. Let's put you 500 miles north in Tohoku," and that's what they did. So ever since then, I've been kind of bitter about that. So you're very lucky. Anything you could tell me about the area? The area of Kansai is fucking magical. You've got like 3 amazing cities on your doorstep. You've got Osaka, which has just the best food in Japan. They call it the kitchen of Japan. You'll see why when you're there. But you can just really get lost in Osaka. It's kind of like Osaka's the closest city to Blade Runner. You've got kind of the neon everywhere. It's got a kind of grimy feel to it. A lot of people describe Osaka as like dirty and grimy, but I think it's fucking spectacular. Like, it's a really cool place. Blade Runner with good food. That's the best way to describe Osaka. Kobe has Kobe beef, but I also found it has a really good nightlife and lots of cool young people and lots of fun stuff. Like, I went to the best bar or club I've been to in Japan in Kobe. I would tell you the name, but I have forgotten it. But just type in like foreigner-friendly bar in Kobe and it'll probably come up. But I went there and there's quite a lot of foreigners, which isn't normally a good thing, but it was quite fun here and it was a really good crowd. So Kobe was good for that. And Kyoto, very touristy these days, but it's still just probably the most magical city in Japan. I wouldn't want to live there just because of the tourists everywhere, but in Kyoto, like the temples are just amazing, and it's a really great place to hop on a bicycle and just cycle around. If I lived in between all three of those cities, I would spend like 1 month at a time in each one. I'd have like all my free time, and I would like just go off to Osaka for 1 month. Then the next month, I'd spend all my free time in Kobe, and the next month I'd spend all my free time in Kyoto. Make sure you take in all three cities because they're all completely different. And I think I hate you just out of jealousy. No, I don't. But good luck. You're very lucky, William. All right. Anybody got any thoughts on that? Lots of people still talking about this book. This book has stolen the show today. The author is Seiichi Makino and Michie Tsutsui. That's a difficult name, isn't it? Tsutsui. There you go. Screenshot that. There's the book. Cool. But do you know BTS? Wait, what's BTS? There's lots of people in the comment section talking about BTS, and I don't know what that is. Or I do know what it is, but I don't know what the acronym means. Fill me in on that. Oh dear. Oh, it's a Korean band. All right. No, I don't know my K-pop, I'm afraid. Although, if I had to choose between K-pop and J-pop, I would go for K-pop. Like J-pop, Japanese pop music, more original, more crazy, more unique compared to Western music. But I just find it just impossible to get into, with the exception of a few bands. But yeah, J-pop, oh God, no. K-pop is a lot more just Western, but a lot more accessible in the process. And actually, I found that K-pop is really popular here. When I was a teacher, a lot of my students would like talk about their favorite bands, and there would often be K-pop bands. So yeah, and a lot of foreigners living in Japan, they prefer K-pop to J-pop as well. Celeste says, "You've opened my eyes to city pop." Yes, I always post about this on Patreon. But city pop music, Japanese city pop, which is a genre of music primarily from the 80s, when boomboxes became popular and stuff in Japan, and like the car stereo became popular, it created this new genre of like easy listening pop music, and it doesn't exist at all today. Like Japanese pop music is nothing like it now, but it's kind of very unique in the 80s. It's got a very jazzy, kind of funky feel to it, city pop, and I often just, when I'm working, I just put it on the background and play it over and over, and I feel like I'm in the 80s. So yeah, city pop, Japanese city pop. There's loads of compilations that have sprung up everywhere on YouTube. Just download it and enjoy. And baby metal, yeah, lots of people, unsurprisingly, talking about baby metal. Baby metal, yeah, they're fun. They're fun. Not my kind of music again, but they're much easier to listen to than most J-pop bands. They're quite fun. Like, I think just because they're crazy and wacky and ridiculous. Yeah, baby metal. People always ask me to make a video on baby metal, and I just don't know. I don't know what I could possibly say, other than it's like 3 14-year-old girls dancing around and going crazy. It's a really mental experience watching a baby metal music video. But yeah, they're pretty cool. What was the book about the rooms called? Oh, this live stream is just me. It's just me showing you lots of books over and over. The book is called, I'll put it really close to the screen. Onago Room. Or in Japanese, Onago Hair. It literally means girl's room. And the author is Shiori Kawamoto. There you go. The book is 2,300 yen. And Chris's book club, says Dr. Kabuki. Now that could work, couldn't it? Abroad in Japan book club. That sounds quite lame. But yeah, no, there you go. More pictures from that. It's a really awesome book. Like, yeah. David says you should make a book, Chris. Of course you would say that, David. As the designer of Abroad in Japan merchandise, just finished designing all this amazing merchandise. You need your next job, the Abroad in Japan book. I have actually sat down with Natsuki recently, and we've considered making a book where Natsuki looks at an object or an item and then gives his English, his kind of crazy English. He guesses what the item is called, which is kind of how the fucking cleaner and the electric box came about, right? On the I don't know where they've gone. Shit, I've lost them. How have I lost the notebooks? I don't know. But like the way Natsuki just magically thinks up things, we thought about doing that for an entire book, and it could well happen. I think people would enjoy it. A 50-page book filled with pictures of stuff and Natsuki's personal English description. Could be fun. Could be a good coffee table book at the very least. The sort of thing you just stick on your coffee table. All right. Crikey, it's past 11 already, and I still haven't finished my beer. This beer has been more for just show. It's been more like decoration and me looking cool than me actually drinking it. What an idiot. All right. All right. I think that's most of the questions. Holly says, I'm new to tutoring English. New teacher. I'm new to tutoring English, and I'm quite shy and get nervous when the Japanese students want to practice spontaneous conversation on the spot. Any advice for topics to discuss? I can completely relate to you, Holly. When I first arrived here, my first year, I was so awkward with students. I didn't know how to interact with them whatsoever. And the fact that I didn't speak Japanese made it all the worse because they would talk to me and I wouldn't know what the hell they were saying. I would just sort of nod along and be like, oh, yeah. Well. But what I did in the end, I learned Japanese. That helped. But make a conversation starter book for your students. It was a little A5 book I made with about 5 or 6 pages in. And I had English questions like, what's your favorite hobby? What do you like to do in your free time? Or, just basic conversation starter questions. Where are you from? What do you like to do? Which country do you want to visit the most? What's your favorite food? Depending on their age level and English ability. Do those kind of simple questions, translate them into Japanese as well. And then I made my students memorize the questions and use them in conversation. It was just a simple conversation starter book for my students, and it made all the difference. So if you're tutoring students in English, do something like that, and I think it will help. But you'll find it gets better over time, and you'll find most conversations with your students will always kind of go in the same direction, the same kind of things. So yeah, you'll definitely get used to it quite quickly. But yeah, I was really awkward in my first year. I used to get students. I had one kind of odd girl always come over to my desk at lunchtime while I was eating, and just stand there and smile and say hello, and then stare at me like this, and look really awkward for like 10 minutes while I ate my lunch. And I would sort of just sit there and be like, so, yeah, life, everything's great. Wow, and I didn't know what to say to her. I couldn't speak Japanese. She couldn't speak English. Quite frankly, I didn't know why she came and said hello every lunchtime. But yeah, you have some pretty awkward encounters with students. But after the first year, it gets a lot better. All right. Any questions from you guys in the comment section? Shoot away. Ask away, and I will quickly answer your questions. Celeste says, do you shop at Sperm? I don't shop at Sperm, but it's funny you should mention that because I'm actually putting that in the new video, which will be out on Monday. Totally a teacher crush. Yeah, quite a few of you guys are assuming that this girl had a crush on me. Possible. It does actually happen. I think it did happen quite a few times. You get like lots of girls giggling in the corridor. I got really self-conscious in my first year as a teacher, actually, because you walk down the corridor and all the girls are like, oh, ikemen, kawaii, and they're kind of, I don't know, saying nice things and kind of making you sound really good. And it just makes you feel awkward, if there's like a 16-year-old girl telling you you're cute as you walk down the corridor, it's just like, oh yeah, cheers. It's just really awkward. That's the weird side of being a teacher in Japan. Will you go watch BTS? Ha ha ha. Well, I'll watch BTS. I'll see what the fuss is about. After this live show, I'll go and watch this Korean band. Char Clark says, All Blacks or Wallabies? My preference would be the All Blacks. I just think they're a cooler team. I've always preferred the All Blacks. I don't know a great deal about the Wallabies, actually. And the All Blacks have a much better reputation in the UK. Can I start a crisp book club? Says Celeste. No, you've already got too many things on the run. You've already got the Natsuki fan club that you're managing. You don't need to do the crisp book club as well. I don't even know what a Broad in Japan book club would look like. Can't even imagine. Will you do another unboxing video with Natsuki? I've thought about it, but I don't know if it'd be funny. There's only so many times you can do the same kind of unboxing videos. I say that, although there's lots of YouTube channels where people are like unbox something every day, but I don't know, I find it a bit repetitive. So I don't know if we'll do another unboxing video unless we get more stuff. But actually the PO box's address has changed, so yeah. Halfway through the Minbor film, Chris. It's great so far. Yeah, Minbor. If you didn't see, I made a post. On Patreon I did a post talking about an amazing Japanese movie called Minbor. The Japanese Art of Extortion is called. It's by my favourite Japanese director, Itami Juzo, and it's just about the Yakuza bullying this hotel and the way the hotel like takes on the Yakuza and gets over it. Really funny film, awesome. He's my favourite director, and he was eventually killed by the Yakuza for making fun of them. So I feel inclined to always try and promote him, to try and keep his legacy going, especially as his movies are pretty difficult to come by these days, unfortunately, which I often wonder if that has something to do with the Yakuza as well, controlling DVDs. I don't know. But anyway, how do you survive a plane ride from the UK to Japan? Like so many hours, and then suddenly snakes come out. What do you do and how do you survive? Snakes? What? How do I survive a plane ride, though? I don't survive a plane ride. When I flew to Japan from the UK after filming Natsuki the movie, I went via Hong Kong, and it was just the worst flight, so much turbulence, absolutely wrecked by the end of it. The trick is to buy an iPad and load it with video games and movies, and then just play on the iPad for 11, 12 hours, 17 hours in my case with the Hong Kong flight. God forbid. All right, yeah, the snakes on the plane. How did I not get that reference? All right. Still haven't finished this beer. This is shocking. It's been over an hour and I still haven't finished it. What an idiot. No direct flights between London and Tokyo, says Saber Mal. There is direct flights, but a lot more expensive. And it was Golden Week when I came back to Tokyo. Golden Week is the biggest national holiday in Japan. And it meant all the flights from between London and Tokyo were like £3,000, when usually they're like £900. So, yeah, fucking awful. So I had to go via Hong Kong and then die on the horrible 2 flights. All right, guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. And I'm going to finish this beer sometime. I still haven't finished it. Anything I want to say before I wrap up? Anything I want to say? So we've got another video coming out in the next 2 days about my favourite place in Japan. The best place to live in Japan. Talking about my 2 experiences of living in the countryside and where I live now. Although, to give you spoiler alert, the conclusion is living in the countryside is better. But I'll talk about that in the video. And after that, we've got another video about traveling Japan without Japanese. Really popular topic, a really common question. The next Patreon exclusive video, if you haven't seen it this month, it was just Natsuki and I answering your questions. Next month, we've got a Patreon exclusive where I'm talking about my experience as a teacher over 3 years and working in Japan, because it's something I haven't actually done a whole lot. I don't know why I haven't actually, but I'm going to talk about that and give you kind of a frank behind-the-scenes look at my life as a teacher in Japan for 3 years and talk about the good things, the bad things, why it was good, why it didn't work, all the cool stuff. But for now, guys, as always, thanks for watching. Oh, and merchandise. Going to be making a merchandise video next week, finally. So you can actually buy this amazing stuff, like this mug. that I didn't drink out of all evening. I don't know why I didn't drink out of this. That would have been great product placement. What an idiot. But anyway, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the week. Have a great weekend. Wherever you are in the world, whatever you're doing, have a good one. I will now finish this beer live. That was what? This is like a magic fucking beer can. It's like the beer never ends. Either that or I'm shit at drinking. Like in one go. Oh, I've done it. My sins are absolved. Damn beer. Making me look bad. Bye. No. I've got to think of a quick way of ending it before it stops.